What's going on, everybody? So, if you were planning on watching our other YouTube live, whatever reason, LinkedIn just kind of attacked my YouTube live, and yeah, so now I had to come over here, and there's nobody watching yet because I didn't go live as the place that I was going to go live. So, wild thing happening with the technology today. It always seems like there's something, but I'm excited to chat with you guys today about all things real estate, theme parks, life in Orlando. I've got a bunch of other stuff planned. Seeing people roll in now. My apologies if you guys were watching on the other one for whatever reason. Yeah, everybody got kicked off. So good times. So let me ask you this: if you're watching already, where are you guys watching from today? Diz Deb checking in. Hey, how are you? David says hi from the UK. Good to see you. Nicholas says I'm watching. Gunner Games, what's up? What's up, Joseph? Good to see you, my friend. There we go. Now people are starting to roll in. That makes me feel a little bit better. I apologize for anybody just tuning in. We had some little technical difficulties with LinkedIn, apparently. Ethan, what's going on? Charlotte, North Carolina. Are you thinking about moving from Charlotte? I've got this thing I found out when I moved here, this whole like halfback idea. People that like move from New York, Jersey, Michigan, Ohio, they move to Florida and they're like, oh, wait, maybe it's too hot. I'm going to move half back to North Carolina. And then we get a ton of people, though, that live in North Carolina and South Carolina that have been moving here lately. Very interesting to watch the trends. What's going on, William from Jersey? I appreciate it. Brooke, what's up from Orlando? That guy from the ATL. Good to see you. Good to see you. Man, my trip was really good. I went to Utah this week. I was speaking out there about real estate and content marketing and growing a team and all of this other cool stuff. And man, it felt good. Felt good. Who's that guy that you see at the bottom of 535? That's me. I'm on that billboard. That's me talking about this in general, just real estate and theme parks and life in Orlando. Hello, Miss Annette from Denmark. Good to see you. I hope you're doing very well this evening for you. All right, so let's get into a few of the stories from today. If you haven't already, do me a favor, hit that like button so that this pushed out to other people. That would mean the world to me. But we're going to talk about some real estate first and foremost, because I think that is what most people are coming here to hear about today. Let's see, share screen. Now I got to go redo all of this again. And boom, we're live. So this is our market watch. I'm going to do this version until we get the newest version of the cool stuff, the cooler graphics next week. But here's kind of what's going on. And this is really kind of clear indication of what's going on in our market. You have 1,221 new houses, townhomes, condos in the 5-county area that were listed in the past 7 days. We had a lot of price decreases. And here's an interesting thing about the price decreases, in my opinion. These people, they reduce their price. And then look how many of these actually went pending. Like a ton of them, that's what PND means. You know, they list their house probably a little too high. And then they reduce the price and then it sells immediately. Like, go figure. That's how it always has been for years and years and years. But over the pandemic time, when the market just got overheated, it was like you literally listed it at any price you wanted and it would typically sell. Now, agents like myself and my team, we come in and we actually give market analysis and say, hey, this is like right where you need to be if you want to actually sell within the next 2 to 3 weeks. But going back here, we had 832 sales actually closed in the past 7 days, which is interesting because these are people that bought about a month ago, right when the price increases or the interest rate increases started happening. But pendings are starting to pick back up again. So what I anticipate happening, because you got 971 recent pendings, what I anticipate happening is that people are looking at 6% interest rates. If you don't know, the interest rates did drop a little bit this week, like a quarter point back down into the 5s. But eventually people are going to realize that like 5s, 6s aren't as bad. They're just not as, they're shocked compared to the 3s and 4s that we've had for the past 2 years. And so if you look back, I think it was 2019, the average interest rate was right in the 5s. That was just kind of normal. And then now, prices have skyrocketed since, and it's getting a little bit of unaffordable all over the country. One of the things I want to point out, though, there was a great article from Fortune magazine. Housing markets labeled high risk of a home price drop just spiked 73%. Find your local market using our interactive map. So they kind of dug in and said, okay, based on a little bit of everything from job creation to what's going on in markets, supply, demand, all of that kind of stuff. Where are the places that have very high or over 70% chance of a price dip, high, medium, low, or very low, meaning a 0 to 20% chance of dropping? And we've got this map here, right? So you got places that are very high, would be like Bellingham, Washington, basically the West Coast, it looks like. A lot of places in California, all of that kind of thing. Detroit, which is where I'm from, they're saying that's going to be a medium chance that there's going to be a price drop. But then look down here in basically Florida, you've got the Orlando Kissimmee submarket. They're saying we've got a very low chance of price drops based on our current economic state, supply and demand, and all that good stuff. I'm curious, drop comments down below. Is this something that surprises you? Or is this something that you kind of like, no, that makes sense, kind of based on everything we've been talking about? Let me know. What's up, David from Tallahassee? Good to see you. People like to think that they got a deal regardless of the price. Jeff, I would agree with you. I feel like everybody's looking for something. It's interesting because we used to tell buyers 6 months ago, you getting a house was the deal, right? It was like, even if you had to, you're writing over asking, all the other crazy things, you actually closing on a house became the deal, right? Now people are like, well, interest rates are going up and I heard the market's pulling back. What's my deal? Right. And so there's plenty of builders, there's plenty of places that you can feel as though, you won. My goal now is to get everybody into a place. If we can get them into new construction, have the builder maybe chip in to lower the rate or maybe towards design center. There's lots of ways to win right now. And if your mindset is that you're going to own this house for 5+ years, which most people do, then you're going to win. That's just the case. All right, let's see. You're getting your house ready to sell, but it seems like prices are dropping so fast. So let's go back to this, Gunnar. So prices, again, decreasing. It's a lot of them, right? You're talking about 50% of the houses that are listing are also getting decreased, right? Or houses that were on the market decreased. And that number has not been this high in a very long time. And you look at what are the average price decreases of these listings, right? Just because somebody overpriced a house by 10% and then dropped that price down to where it should be. Like I've taken listings before where the sellers have said, I want to list my house at $1 million. And I'm like, hey, the house is only worth 900. But again, I'm a marketer and I'm a consultant. And obviously I do all the real estate stuff in the background. I don't set the price. You guys do as the seller. And so I'm going to let you know if we list at $1 million, we're probably going to sit on the market. And eventually you'll have to do a price decrease. And eventually you're going to have buyers that are kind of lowballing you. But again, it's your decision. So 5 months ago, 6 months ago, they could have listed it at $1 million, even though it was worth 900, and they would have got offers. Now you have to be priced where you should be if you want to get offers. And that's just the case. Still seeing supply chain setbacks or other market shifts on new construction. So supply chain for sure. It's a lot of labor shortage as well. Like you've got the actual physical goods, but you actually have the people, and getting those things done has actually been really tough. That's why in a lot of my videos where I talk about job creation and things going on in Orlando, like if you're thinking about moving to the area and you're in the trades, like there's jobs for you everywhere. Carson says, recommendation for a future video, property management companies, turnkey investment companies, contractors, cleaners that want those sort of things. Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of people from the long-term side, which it's interesting. If you don't know, in Florida, if to be a long-term property manager, meaning like 1 year lease, 7-month lease kind of, or longer, you have to be licensed, have a licensed broker. If you're on the short-term rental side, it's kind of like anybody and their mom, they can get a business license and just go. And so it's a little bit more of the Wild West on the short-term side and like what you actually get for what you're paying. Whereas on the long-term side, it's a little bit more clear cut. Yeah, I mean, so D-Town, let's see, go back here. Isn't the trend a high percentage of decreases? Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because the amount of price increases is still kind of wild to me. People are still raising their prices. And some of these are new construction. Like if you look, you're built here. Go here. It's a lot of builders still. We've got 2022. So these are builders still raising their prices, but there's still plenty of people that have like older homes that are, 1989, 61, that they're raising their prices, which doesn't always make sense to me. Sometimes people think it's a strategy like, oh, I'm listed at 500. Maybe I'm going to go now at 501 and it'll show back up new on the market, on Zillow, on realtor.com, and these places. Kind of wild. Michael says, which neighborhoods do you recommend in downtown Orlando? Depends on your price point. It depends on, if you're looking for walkability, but I like the Thornton Park area is amazing. Delaney Park is getting nicer and nicer. Soto, I own a place in Soto as an investment that I think is going to do really well. There's a lot of really cool downtown areas, but up and down Orange, there's plenty of little pocket neighborhoods over there that I'm a really big fan of. Brooke says, hoping the builders decrease a bit, especially in the Sunbridge where we want, the values just don't add up to the amenities right now. I agree. I mean, like when you're buying in Sunbridge down in St. Cloud, you are buying for the future. Like there's nothing there yet, unless you're in the Del Webb area. The Del Webb section of Sunbridge, they've got amazing amenity right there already. But in the rest of Sunbridge, you're buying into the future. And so some of the builders have started giving slight incentives, design incentives, closing cost incentives, buy down your rate incentives. Some of them are saying, hey, if you buy with us today, we'll lock in your rate today so that you don't have to worry about what it's going to be a year from now. I think that's good. Yeah, here's an interesting question that I love answering. So Marcella, where would I buy a house if I had a $550,000 budget? Again, it's so subjective, right? Are you going to use it for short-term rental? Are you going to use it for yourself? Do you have kids? Do you want to be walkable? Are you looking for new? Are you looking for used? There's like just so many factors there, right? So narrowing down your focus and having down a list of like what's actually important to you is really important first. And then I can help you back into your budget. So if you want to either email us or drop a comment, let me know and I'm happy to answer it. I know the more the better. However, is 10% still the minimum recommended amount to have on hand for a down payment, or is that too low to be a reasonable goal for someone's purchasing a home here? Holly, I would say that when the market was so hot, sellers were looking at buyers that were only putting down 10% as a negative. Now that the market's much more even and balanced, which I'm so thrilled for, I think 10% is fine. It's totally fine. So I think if you get in the market, put 10% down, just make sure you have your closing costs on top of that. Plenty of opportunity there. I'm going to get in a couple questions and then you guys keep dropping your questions below. This is definitely more about you than it is me today. So I want to answer your questions, help you out however that I can. So make sure you keep dropping comments below. I've got a few other stories for you that we can kind of chat about. One of the neighborhoods that is newer here in Horizon West just finally started selling houses. And so I've had a bunch of people email me about this. So I thought I would maybe bring it up. So Silverleaf, which is over by Horizon West, you've got Hamlin up here and Hamlin Groves. The new middle school is right over here. So it's actually right next to Silverleaf. And they're starting in the 400s. So if you're looking for Horizon West, you're okay with the bungalow style homes, which means that the garage is in the back. Then this is, I think, a really great opportunity for people because so many of the new Horizon West neighborhoods have been stalled over off of Reams Road, New Hartzog Road. And so, and Dreamfinders is kind of slow to get their thing going. So this is a really good option. Meritage, I think, builds a good medium quality house for the price. I think it's right on with where it needs to be. So definitely check it out. A couple other things about that area and builders and that sort of thing. So Dreamfinder Homes plans 463 home community in Horizon West. This is a new one that just got launched. This is from Growth Spotter. They broke the news this week over in Horizon West's Ovation Village. And here's an interesting thing to me, because you have this map here. This is 192. So right below 192, this becomes Kissimmee. You've got a lot of short-term rentals, that sort of thing. You also have the Grove, if you haven't seen this before. The Grove is like it looks like this. They're like condo style. They are condos. They're condo tells. You can't live there for more than 6 months at a time. You pretty much have to rent it out. And so this is interesting to me because Horizon West was always kind of, the idea was that houses in Horizon West, the schools, all of that kind of stuff, where there's no short-term rentals around you. You're kind of away from the hustle and bustle of tourism. And now it's starting to spread out as like the core of Horizon West is getting built out down lower and lower and lower. So you've got Dreamfinders building basically right next to the Grove Resort. And it'll be interesting to see how people respond, because I know a lot of folks, they want to stay away from the tourism corridor for traffic reasons, for so many different reasons. And other people are like, no, I want to be right in the middle of the action. So let me know what you guys think down below. I am kind of curious what you think. Let's see, where did I miss out here? Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, Star. I mean, so your house in Waterley 6 weeks ago was $1 million. Now it's listed at 855. So it depends on what, like, Waterley is huge. You've got waterfront, you've got conservation front, and then you've got other ones that are backing to one another. I have seen a significant drop in the overall pricing for lot premiums, but the base prices of the houses haven't changed. They're going to keep the base prices exactly where they were because they don't want to see a downward pressure, especially with all of that backlog of the new construction that they have. But we just sold one over there, and we got our people like $26,000 towards design credits and some other stuff. Wild. Interesting. So contract for new build in January 22 at 375. Appraisal came in at 404. If I pull out now, I lose the deposit. Narcoossee location in Lake Nona and work. We like the house and package. Concerned how much prices will drop. So Abraham, here's what I tell everybody, and this is my own advice that I would give myself, my kids, whoever is buying, is that if you are looking at a long-term house, right? What happens over the next year or two doesn't really concern you. And again, like, I'm not your agent. I don't think that you're not working with me personally. If you worked with somebody on my team, maybe, but if you went right to the builder, regardless, this is the advice that I would give you. If your horizon's long enough, you're paying 100% interest on rent versus buying something that you actually own. It makes more sense to close, take the equity, and go. Another thing I would say is I just closed on a house with some clients last week. Their purchase price was $595. The appraisal came in at $630, but I know I could sell that house today for $850 because the difference between new construction appraisals and resale appraisals are completely different. They only look at other new construction that's closed, which you got to remember was probably locked in a year ago, versus the resales that are selling today. So that changes your mind either way. If you're curious, like what resale might be right for your house, let me know. Hopefully that makes sense. What's up, Jan from Germany? Good to see you, man. Yeah, so Brooke, they're going to stop doing that, right? So how do they progress up from 600s if they increase $2 to $5 grand, however many sales? Yeah, so for builders, what a lot of these folks would do is that they would pop in and say, hey, for every 3 to 5 houses we sell, we're going to increase $5 grand, right? Well, eventually got to a place where they were doing multiple offers and they were just doing crazy stuff to where prices were going way over that, right? And so now we're back down to where it's a little bit more sane, that for every 10 houses they sell, they might raise it a little bit, right? They want to keep prices moving up so that a year from now, you have more equity than when you first bought, right? But it's just how fast they can do that now. Or instead of saying, hey, we're going to keep the base price the same for the next 6 months, we're going to offer a little bit of design incentives and maybe we'll give you a little bit of discounts on your lot premium. But we're still going to keep raising that base price of a home every few months. Does that make sense? So it kind of is a bit of a shell game with a lot of these builders in how you get to your final number. Now, the past year for sure, it was just anything goes. It was like the Wild West. And so now we're getting back to reality, back to sanity. And I couldn't tell you how happy I am about that. Let me just get this real quick. Talk amongst yourselves. All right. So thank you for your content. We purchased in Story Grove, Winter Garden, and are moving in San Diego. How soon or how should be done in the next month? I think we maybe have a misspelling there. We purchased in Story Grove and are moving from San Diego. Congrats for leaving California. How should I be done next month? Cool. Awesome. That's awesome. What's up, cousin? Good to see you, my friend. Oh, there we go. reshuffled here. Thank you for your content. We're moving from San Diego to Story Grove, and our house should be done next month. That's what I thought. Congratulations and welcome. Hello from Laureate Park. Did you see what happened in Laureate Park? Sorry, I've got to move some of this stuff around to get to my plug. Laureate Park's kind of wild because you had these builders, dream finders. They all of a sudden started dumping all of their spec homes on the market all at once. So we went from having like 3 houses for sale in Laureate Park to like 45 overnight. And I don't know what they were thinking. I'll be honest. Craft, Dream Finders, all these people. I mean, they were probably thinking, oh crap, we have to hurry up and get some of these houses sold because we finally have some backlog. But to me, it makes no sense to list 40 houses at once. So if you're over marketing or you work at Dream Finders or Craft, hit me up. Let me help you. All right, let's talk about a few more stories here. One of this, I'm in love with this house in Golden Oak. It was featured in a bunch of like national stuff this week. Let me show you some photos. This house is just, it's fantastic. Before I go through, so it's listed at $15 million, built in 2019. It's almost 11,000 square feet, 7 bedrooms, 9.5 baths. HOA fees, as you may know, for Golden Oak, you've got a couple different ones in there. So it's $27,000 a year for annual fees. But let's look at this house. Because whether you can afford it or not, I'm sure you can appreciate a baller house. And this is indeed a baller house. Got the open sweeping staircase all the way up there. Opens into the back. I love this outdoor, indoor living. And then look at the little touches up top here. So you've got like the Sorcerer Mickey hat. You've got the Epcot ball. You've got Animal Kingdom in etched glass. Super nice. Sweeping 2-story. Great room. Got the cabinet level finishes on like really everything, which you'd expect for a $15 million house. Got the master primary. Again, a little bit more stained glass. I don't know. What do you guys think about this house? If money wasn't an issue, you won the lottery, you built a big business and sold it, whatever it might be, is that something that you jump into? Do I believe Disney delayed moving to Lake Nona due to a construction issue? What's the word on the street? So I did a video on this, like an emergency video last week, because it's just, there was so much coming out that week that I couldn't skip a week of doing a live. So I actually might do this more often, do like a 30 to 60 minute live every other week, and then do like a 15-minute, holy crap, here's what's going on, let me tell you guys the quick scoop, every other week, if that makes sense. Anyways, last week I'd mentioned that, so Disney's delaying their 2,000 jobs, but they're still moving people. Like I've seen all of these internal memos, and what it basically says is that if you already moved to Orlando, good, your job's good, let's keep moving forward. If you still want to move to Orlando currently or between now and 2026, you can, but nobody's going to be forced to if you want to keep your job until early 2026. My opinion was that they were rushing this whole decision. Like it was like literally announcement move in like under 18 months or 2 years. And so are they going to build $1 billion campus in 18 months? I mean, I believe Disney can do a lot of things, but I don't think that they were doing that. That plus the stock is in the tank. There's a lot of things going on politically, all that good stuff, that I think it just made for the perfect storm, that they were like, maybe we should just kind of slow roll this. The other thing I think is a big piece was that only something like 40 or 50% of the 2,000 jobs that they were trying to move, people that were in those jobs currently wanted to actually move to Orlando. A lot of them were like, we want to be here where Walt started it all. We're Imagineers. We don't want to make the move immediately. And so Disney was like, they're already in a cast member shortage. So why push it so hard when we can kind of elongate it out, maybe convince some of those people that they do want to move here. So all of that, right? Very complicated, in-depth situation. And I probably think, even though I was upset with it because I had some clients say, hey, we're going to delay moving. We'll see you in a couple of years. So that was like, hurt me for my business now. That said, I think it was probably the smart move overall to make like a positive work environment, get the right people moving here, finish the project the way that it should be finished instead of rushed. Yeah, anyways, all that. What's going on, Nicole? Good to see you. Good to see you. Our friends lost their townhome in Laureate Park because they increased the price by $75,000 after a year. Now they don't qualify. The townhome has not even broken ground. Yasmin, let me talk to about this. This is actually a really crazy thing. So, I have clients myself that were building townhouses. We signed. I have one client of mine. We signed the contract the same day, March of 2021. I closed in January of this year. They still won't be done for another probably 2 or 3 months, which is just insane. That really strictly was two reasons. One was because the city of Orlando has now updated their townhome requirements for fire suppression, and it actually costs the builder something like $30,000 per unit to do this new system. So everybody across the board was starting to get hit with price increases. That being said, 75 grand seems like a ton for a townhouse increase that much. So depending on where they locked in, I mean, if they don't qualify now, that's brutal. That is so sad to hear. What's up, Nikki? From the UK, what's going on? You're waiting for your fiance's visa to be able to visit Orlando, hopefully next year. Anything specific I need to consider? Well, if you're going to buy here or move here, I think finding the area is super important. Getting your jobs lined up if you are going to be working here or buying a business, there's lots of things to consider. So always happy. We've got a ton of folks now moving from the UK, Canada a lot again. So yeah, reach out anytime. Did I see your super question? Yeah, buddy. Let's answer it right now. I have a $400,000 budget, and I want to buy a townhome in Davenport, all cash with a pool. Is that possible? It will be long term, not rental. So it depends on what part of Davenport. There are a bunch of townhouses with pools, like little spools we call them, like a small pool. Festival, I think by Ashton Woods, you can still get in there. It's a little close to I-4. So I would, if I were you, get as deep as you can into the neighborhood so you're not hearing anything. But I think even those are like in the 450s now. But if you go a little bit farther down I-4, there's still going to be opportunity for you around that 400 mark. Jay asks, do I see a lot of next gen homes being built, little separate from the in-laws would be nice? Dude, yes. So Lennar has, which I'm not a massive Lennar fan in terms of their quality in today's market, but they are one of the best at building this next gen vibe. So you've got like 3,000 square feet in your house, and then there's a separate entrance with a whole nother kitchen, bath, all on the same floor that's built specifically for this. And usually they're all on the same level, many of these, for the next gen part, so that you can have, like, if you have an elderly mom, dad, grandma, aunt, uncle, whatever living with you, that they're not having to do stairs. And so it's cool because you can give people a place to age in place and split some of the costs of owning a house. So Lennar does this really well. If you're looking to have just like a guest house, there's builders all over Central Florida that offer a guest house over the garage, which those options they're just plentiful. I mean, plenty of different folks right now. James asks, can you purchase a lot from the developer and build at a later date if you like a year or two? So it depends on the neighborhood. Like if you're in Bella Colina, you can do this. It depends on your budget. If you're looking at the corner sort of normal, like starter homes all the way up to, $1 million, $1.5 million, like just the normal neighborhoods where it's like a Toll Brothers, a Pulte, Dreamfinders kind of thing, they're not going to sell you the lot. They're going to only sell you the package deal. But there's plenty of other, like, if you're in the luxury price point, that's a little bit more prevalent because they sort of expect you to buy a lot, meet with an architect, take some time, and they usually give you about 2 years to get in. The other option would be finding a place where it's outside of a development, like a tear down, and tear something down and build it later on. I'm doing a lot of that with clients right now. Is Del Webb Sunbridge a good investment? Will it hold its value? I think so. So I think Sunbridge is a bit of a long play, but I think in the next, I don't know, call it 5 years 10 years for sure, 5 years probably, when things are a little bit more built out with the amenity center, Sunbridge is going to be hot. I love the builders that they chose for the neighborhood. I love the idea of the master plan community that they have envisioned. And so as that gets more and more built out, I think there's going to be more and more people that want to call that place home. So yeah, I do think it's a long-term positive. Dude, this is a great question, actually. Why don't I see a lot of Lowe's or Home Depots in the home area? I don't know. That's like very well needed. Or like even like little mom and pop, like Ace Hardware or like Celebration has a hardware store owned by a small family. They're expanding actually, and it's one of my favorite little places to go in. Like those hardware stores where it's like super tight aisles and but they have everything, like anything you'd ever need for your house. There's one of those in Celebration. But yeah, there's more Lowe's happening. I know there's one in Claremont. There's one in Winter Garden. They're out here, but there's not as plentiful as like some of the other places that we've lived. Hey, Wendy Bird, good to see you from Claremont. Oh, speaking of Claremont, let's go. Highest rated, where we're at. Oh, here we go. So Olympus Mixed Use Development Master Plan. So it's cool, like digging into some of this stuff. They have like $40 to $50 million for the core of the Olympus project, which is out in Claremont. That's why Wendy Bird reminded me of it. So it's interesting to see kind of where they're moving forward. So they published this back originally in 6/20 of 19, and then they've been updating it along the way. Seeing what they have planned here, this is like the first phase of this Olympus project. They've got 247 acres to include single family houses, indoor and outdoor training venues, wellness, health, fitness facilities, sports themed hotels, restaurants, shops, conference space, and entertainment. The project may feature up to 700,000 square feet of office space, 250,000 of retail, restaurant space, sports facilities, and then hotels plus 1,000 houses. That's like a mouthful for one little area in Claremont. That's currently actively now designed and they're moving forward with. So I've been talking about Claremont as kind of like the next Horizon West or the next hotspot. And even if you look here, it says like Wellness Way area near Horizon West. I mean, eventually Wellness Way and Horizon West are just going to be one kind of like massive area, especially as all of those roads connect over to 27. And so, yeah, I think it's going to be the spot. So for those of you asking, like, where do I think that underrated or what's the next place to go? I think one of the areas is Lake County and Claremont. That's where I would be looking to spend some money. If you were looking to get a new construction or you're getting priced out of some of the more popular areas, Dr. Phillips, Windermere, Winter Garden, all of those places on the west side, this is where I would be looking. Have I ever thought about starting a team in other parts of Florida, Lakewood Ranch? Yeah, I mean, eventually the goal is here's what's going to happen, Joseph, is that the coast, Orlando and Tampa are all going to be one big super region. Eventually, the amount of business kind of going on in Lakeland right now is insane. And so as we get more and more people expounding out into those areas, we will for sure be connecting out that area. Yeah. So Chase, thoughts on Williamsburg area long term? I mean, I agree because of what's around it. There's a lot of apartments. There's like really not a lot of like neighborhoods. There's not many single family homes that you can buy over there. But if you're into the condo life and you want to be close to Epic Universe and kind of like a stone's throw from like all the theme park stuff, I think it's great. There's plenty of downside to that area, but that's where you find opportunity. And so if you're believing in it for the future, not a bad thing. Do I think Disney will do anything over in Claremont by the Hidden Mickey? I don't think so. Other than, yeah, I think the farthest that they're going to go out is going to be Flamingo Crossing. That whole area is going to be their farthest, but that's still only 10 minutes or so from Claremont. Went to Westland Park to view the model home, sell first shop. This is actually a really, really good one. Very D-Town. So Westland Park is part of, actually it's not Lake Nona, it's Sunbridge. So cell phone service dropped from a 4-bar to a 1 to 0. Sales agents said they're having issues making phone calls. Is this common in new developments? Yeah, for sure. So this is wild. I heard this story that they put in like 32830. Tavistock did. They're the developer. They did their own communications department. So because the land out there in Sunbridge and that side of Orlando, there's no cell phone service. There's no like Spectrum isn't there yet, right? And so most people that live there have like direct TV or they're tying into this new communication system and you're using Wi-Fi at home to make calls until they bring in the cell towers. And so you're seeing like I live out in Horizon West, and even there we have trouble. Like I get 2 bars or 1 bar in some areas and then 5 in others. So the network just hasn't caught up yet, but that is actually a really important point to know when you're out there. Aisha from the Virgin Islands, what's going on? I think you're the first person from the Virgin Islands that's ever tuned in. So thank you. Welcome. Yeah, that house was golden oak, King. Juan says, I'm a 21-year-old loan officer, just wondering where the best qualities that I look for in loan officers when deciding to work with them. Well, this probably won't sound good to you because you're maybe you have a ton of experience, but we look for experienced loan officers that can have really good service for our people, that offer good loan products so that everybody's not in a box. That's kind of like the start. Team Nashville. Mike Reese, what's up, man? So good to hear from you. I mean, the way Nashville's blowing up, I probably should consider it. That's for sure. Advice for new agents just getting their license. Maybe that's a separate video. Love all of my contact. Yeah, actually, so funny enough, we're kicking off a separate channel. So, because I don't want to flood my normal channel with anything other than what I've promised to deliver to our subscribers, which is like theme parks, real estate, and life in Orlando. Like we're staying in that box, but we are kicking off a separate box in terms of growing your business as a real estate agent. So keep a lookout. Visit Orlando recently had very spotty sell in Lake Buena Vista. That's actually interesting, Ethan. I've not had any issues in that area before because it's like kind of the hub of tourism town. That being said, like there's, if you take on your phone and you reset like your network settings, a lot of times you'll find service again much quicker. Yeah, Sean. So Waterley having the same issues in the back of the neighborhood. However, they believe they're installing. They are exactly. So there's going to be a new tower along Avalon, which is going to help everybody out in this area. So I'm super stoked about it. Here we go. This is we're crowdsourcing today. I love this. Sunbridge just added a new cell tower, but unless you harass cell phone companies to add them, you're out of luck. Best thing is to add a device to your house for a signal boost. Yeah, I agree. That's kind of what's to do. Philip asks, are there any more retail in the Hamlin area? Yeah, there's going to be, especially up and down Avalon. And then, yeah, there's probably another 30 stores coming to that area, like retail, a little bit of everything. Alice, sorry, says, what's the minimum amount to get a decent single-family home in Winter Garden? I would say you're probably in the 5s at this point. If you're down with a townhome in the 4s, but you're 5s and 6s, to kind of get something decent over there. World of Hospitality. Hello, what's going on, man? What do I think about the housing market in the Margaritaville area and 192? Since it's located so close to Disney, there's a lot of development going on there. So I think if you own a short-term rental or you're in Margaritaville, which Margaritaville, they charge you a ton on the management costs, but they claim that they're like 90% occupied. So you'll have to weigh your options. But that 192 area for short-term rentals, it's great. It is so close to the parks. If you're living in that area full-time, maybe not as great because like the services are set up to support the short-term rentals and tourism. If you love that and you want to live there year round or 6 months out of the year, that's your choice. I find that people reach out and they're either wanting to buy something short-term rental or vacation home, or they're wanting long-term. And so if you're looking long-term, I probably wouldn't choose the 192 corridor personally. Chris, the Flex, good to see you. I was thinking about moving there in Reunion. A lot of rentals, though. Your opinion? I know a lot of people also starting to move to Reunion long-term, which at first shocked me and has since less and less shocked me because it's good. The proximity is great. It's well-maintained, all that, right? Just keep in mind that you're right. So something like 80% of the neighborhood is either a second home for people to snowbird to, or it's an Airbnb. And so if you live next to an Airbnb, typically those people could be loud, right? They're on vacation. They're having fun. They could have 10 of their friends over or 20 of their friends over. And so if 1 a.m. parties concern you, then some places in Reunion you should be thinking about. It's interesting. There's some of the older parts of Reunion. There's a lot more long-term people that live there. And so there's lots of ways to kind of figure that out. Like you can go on Airbnb and figure out which ones around the house that you're thinking are going to be Airbnbs. You could knock on the door and see if someone lives there full time next door to you and kind of see who your neighbors are going to be. But ultimately, like I like Reunion. I do. Michael says, I noticed it didn't respond to the Hunter's Creek. Do I not like it there? No, we like it. I must have missed it. There's literally 30 more comments that I have to get to still. But no, I actually like Hunter's Creek quite a bit. Let's talk about, let's see real quick. Here's why I like Hunter's Creek. There's also 40 different cities to talk about, but here we go. All right, Hunter's Creek. Here's why I think Hunter's Creek's great. Location and proximity wise, it's awesome. The loop right down here, you've got plenty of shopping, what you'd ever need. You're really kind of pretty close to Disney and all that kind of stuff, but far enough away to where you don't have to really worry about the tourism section or not. You're really close to like Lake Nona and everything else going on over here. And so you're right in the middle of so many good things. Now, a lot of the places in Horizon West or in Hunter's Creek are getting a little bit older. So like you're not going to find some new construction, but it's very, very small. The majority of the stuff there has been built over the past 15 to 35 years. And so a lot of that's going to need everything: kitchen, baths, roof, windows, AC, like all of that kind of stuff. That being said, I think the proximity and the location, as long as you're kind of like in the right spots over there, it can be really nice, especially for the money. I think that it's a great value for what it is. Hope that helps. Hey, Patricia, good to see you from Ireland temporarily. Appreciate it. Oh man, Thomas says our video team is amazing. I'll let them know. I appreciate that. I think so as well. It's been a collaborative effort and kind of continuing to get better and better over the years. So thank you very much. Any thoughts on Pulte as a builder versus Ashton Woods, David Weekley, and Craft Homes? Not hearing great things about Pulte in the Sunbridge area or in general. It really depends, like neighborhood to neighborhood, believe it or not. Especially, well, Pulte has like their Del Webb product, which if you don't know, like their 55 and older Del Webb product is Pulte. I've heard nothing but good things there. There's some other really nice higher end stuff that they've done that I've heard nothing but good things on. Some of their like Syntex is also owned by Pulte, and they're a value product. Like they're going to put in minimum standards just to get a C of O, which there's plenty of other builders. Starlight, there's some other ones that are just like them. But I think overall Pulte builds a good place, so I wouldn't shy away from them. I think Craft ultimately builds a good house once something's finished. So they're the Dreamfinders and Craft. They're the same company, if you didn't know. I think ultimately they once they finish, they build a good product. They've had a ton of issues around supply chain, labor, all that kind of stuff. And they bought so much land and released so many new developments. I don't think that they backfilled with the right amount of people and maybe planning kind of like what's going on. So it's caused a lot of people to get sour on them. But again, I think if you're talking about build quality, ethics versus speed to finish, all that kind of stuff, that's a little bit of a different conversation. What are the best places for long-term rentals near Disney and Orlando? So I would think that long-term rentals near Disney and Orlando. I mean, if you're thinking so the Celebration is actually a really great long-term vibe. If you want to be super close to Disney, they don't offer short-term rentals there, and the long-term rentals usually get snapped up like that. The pricing there has kind of gone through the roof. And then obviously Horizon West, really close. You've got this kind of like unincorporated Orlando in Orange County. It's like 32836 is the zip code. You've got a lot of really nice houses there in Orlando. And then Windermere, like all of those 4 or 5. Real close, rent really well. Sarah, what's going on from Austin? What's soon to be Orlando? We already connected to your team. Thanks so much, Sarah. I appreciate that. I was literally just talking to a good friend of mine who's an agent in Austin. You might know him. His name is Jeremy Knight. And he was talking about how many people like flocked to Austin, but then now are kind of turning and doing an about face. Some of them are coming here, which is exciting. Have I noticed gas costs recently affecting decisions on whether people are looking on what they're buying? I think everything is, buddy. Like, good to see you, by the way. I hope you signed up for the runs because I'm going to be at all of them. So I hope I see you out on the road running. So I think that a lot of people are second guessing what they can afford and not afford. I think that a lot of folks with interest rates going up and inflation going up and all of these kind of things, they are getting, spooked on what they can afford, understandably. And so I think that for the people that are stretching to buy a house, you probably should either change your expectations and look in a different area to where you're a little bit more comfortable, because of the unknowns. I think that's just smart money management. Like I will never push somebody to buy $500,000 house when they really should be buying a 400. Um, I, are the commission dollars bigger on the 500? Of course, but I want a repeat client that's going to love me for years to come. And so that's kind of the conversations we're starting to have right now of like, yeah, you might really want to be in Dr. Phillips, but I know that proximity is great and all that kind of stuff, but should you maybe consider something else for a little bit less money? So I'm having a lot of those conversations right now. Hey, thanks I appreciate it. Either Windermere or Dr. Phillips is what you're considering. Both are amazing places. Hey, Regina, good to see you. So, if I ever do an interview people who's moved from out of state to the area to talk show about how they purchase real estate from, I would love to do that. You're an executive at Pinterest who just did that. Well, that's fantastic. That's super cool. Yeah, I mean, a good majority of our clients actually move from out of state. So many of these people are coming from all over the world and they're buying houses off video that we do for them. I think I've talked about this in the past, but I'll just take a moment. Like instead of just taking photos or going off the MLS, my team and I, we actually go out to the houses and we do like a 15-minute video. We open every door, drawer, talk about smells, talk about the things you're not going to see online. And we are doing that a ton. We've got multiple clients that we're working with that have never seen the house until inspection, or some of them until closing. And so that process is really quite interesting. So yeah, I'd love to reach out and chat with you a little bit. Have I heard about the class action lawsuit against D.R. Horton? I haven't, but now I'm gonna go figure it out after this. So good to know. Let's talk about another story real quick. This is interesting. This makes zero sense. Highest rated breakfast restaurants in Orlando according to TripAdvisor. This thing tripped me out, honestly, because they put Denny's. The amount of Denny's here were and Perkins, like, this is, I guess, just people from around the world dropping in something hilarious to me. Here we go. Grand Floridian Cafe. That's actually one that I do enjoy. 2J's Deli, good. But then another Denny's and an IHOP. And so I'm like, if these people, Beeline Diner's good. Starbucks, I mean, like, okay. Some of this stuff is really, really funny to me. Like, how many they should have taken out chains, to be honest with you. I think they like give more of a local flair, but the amount of IHOPs, Bauma Flavors of Africa over in Animal Kingdom, obviously amazing. Park Fair in Grand Floridian, yeah. I don't know, such a silly list. But the one I wanted to point out, I actually ate here, and we talked about it over on the Orlando Reel. The Briar Patch in Winter Park is fantastic. If you go there on a Sunday morning or a Saturday morning, there will be a line down the street, but during the week you can get in pretty easily. The food is amazing. But yeah, I thought this was just kind of a funny list to go through. Just like Kiki's is good. They're kind of a regional place. We enjoy them from time to time. But the number one place, yeah, Kiki's. I don't know. It's just kind of funny. I mean, they just compile the list from TripAdvisor, so I get it. But that's why over at the Orlando Reel, we're trying to do like, here's some off-topic backwoods places that you're going to love that's not Denny's or IHOP. It's kind of funny. I agree. The Ridgeview community in Claremont is very nice. I think Pulte, especially that neighborhood, some of those other ones out there, they do a really good one. Ken's videos are fun, so please like this video. Hey, thank you. Yeah, thumbs up. Thank you. If you've made it this far in the video for 50 minutes and you haven't subscribed already, I don't know what you're waiting for, but I'd love that if you wouldn't mind. That would mean a ton. And then make sure you drop some comments below, because I take your comments and we make other videos on them. Because again, I'm not doing the videos because I want to see my face. I want to do videos because it's helpful for people looking to either move here, or if you already live here, how we can make your life even better. So that's my goal. Curtis asks, how much are the lot charges for average builders? They're all over the place. Funny enough, we talked about Pulte and some other Toll Brothers. Some of like the nicer builders charge a lot more for their land. and other places charge more for their models and a lot less for their land. And so if you watched earlier in this video, I talked about a lot of builders are kind of a shell game. It's like, they'll put out, homes from the 400s, but then they charge you 100 grand for the lot premium. Or they'll say homes from 500s, but we don't have a lot premium. And so it all comes out in the wash. It's just kind of the games that these guys play. First Watch wasn't even on the list. Oh no, it was. First Watch is number 3. Sorry. First Watch is, pretty good. If you haven't had their $1 million bacon at First Watch, you should. You should go do that. What's going on, Claire from Scotland? Are there any estate-sized houses in gated communities in Winter Garden, or does that not exist? So Winter Garden, the city of, and Horizon West for sure, doesn't allow gated communities. There's one that snuck through. I'm not really sure. I think it's because it's in the unincorporated Orange County portion. But for the most part, their idea was that you'd have big open communities, no gates. Whereas like Windermere, which is right next door, there are so many gated communities there. It's like even the most average house is in a gated community, not because of safety reasons, but because in the early 2000s, they did a ton of gated communities as like a form of prestige, and they got more money for the houses. So Horizon West said, let's not do that. Claremont's very similar. There's a lot of other places that are very similar, but if you want gated and you're in kind of I can give you plenty of other great options. Yes, Sarah. Denny's, man. It's kind of wild. Here's a good question, Thomas. So any updates to Island Village back exit to Old Lake Wilson Road? So I think that it's happening. There's just there were 3 different options that they were trying to consider. And I think that they were going to let some people vote and then come to a final decision. So the back road to through Celebration is happening. Now they also have to keep going with Island Village and keep making it bigger and bigger until they're ready to expand. I think I read somewhere that it's like 2025 by the time that anything like that's going to actually happen to make that reunion area a little bit more accessible. I think I-4 expansion will be done about the same time that road comes in. So hopefully there won't be as many people that even need to use the back door to Celebration if they add that extra lane to I-4, which they're already working on, which is just so needed. Okay, I missed a ton of questions, so I'm going back here. Hey, that's okay. You love my decor in my man space. Thank you. I appreciate it. I have collected this for quite some time. I'm trying to think of anything new that I got. Oh, I've got something cool. This is fun. I bought this at an auction recently, Dream Builders. It's kind of cool. I don't really even know where I'm going to put it because I have no wall space, but I was like, oh, that's something that I have to have because you don't see those things all that often. And I was stoked to get it. So anyways, we're building a new space in downtown Winter Garden, my team and I, for a whole YouTube studio, our real estate space, and our content creation company. And probably that'll go up there. But I'm excited to show you guys how that comes along. Yeah, Denny's and Perk. I'm glad you guys are. I'm not the only one that was like, what the heck is going on over here? Hinish, any updates on Magic Place coming into Kissimmee and Celebration? They started moving. So here's the crazy thing about that is that they had started building that like the last recession, 2009, 2010. Then they revived it. They started moving dirt, tearing down stuff. They put all these things up there. And then every time I drive by it, it's kind of just been stagnant. So I don't know. I mean, there's some places like the Magic Place, not too far down 192, they are selling already. But like the big developments, like the multi-story buildings that they had kind of promised to that area have not started taking place. Hey, Omar. So any new projects in Groveland that we should know about? Does anybody know how the public school system is in that location? So I think Lake County schools continue to get better and better. We can send you some resources on doing some studies on your own, but there's a bunch of new neighborhoods in that Groveland, Mineola, that whole Lake County area. And I think that's pretty fantastic. Sarah, so going back to you, so growth in Austin has gotten crazy. So I definitely see the tech people looking for Florida as a better option. That's correct. Yeah. Oh, Brooke, you moved from Austin. That's awesome. That makes me feel like we got something. Just want to give Jen a shout out. Close this week and would recommend. Yes, Jen is on our team. She's man, I've known Jen since we moved like 6 years. She's like such a good human. I typically try to only hire good humans for our team and good agents, obviously. And but it starts with being an amazing person. So yeah, she's fantastic. What's up, Courtney? We are gonna do some videos. We are, yeah. So we're going into design phase right now. Architectural should be done in the next 2 or 3 weeks with permitting, and then it'll be a 4-month build process. So we got this space. We leased some space above Foxtail Coffee in downtown Winter Garden. And so if I don't get a sponsorship after being there every morning and hammering them, we'll see. But anyways. Hey D, so can homes in Golden Oak use facilities at the Four Seasons, or is it just the homes at the Four Seasons? Yeah, only the houses in the Four Seasons section can use the Four Seasons, but you could always get a membership at the Four Seasons. They have a club that's fantastic. Tranquilo is their golf club. It's, I think, definitely top 3 in Orlando. And the facilities are remarkable. So you can golf cart over there, which every time we go eat there's always golf cart owners from people that live in Golden Oak using the property. So yeah, it's amazing. Thank you. I'm glad. I'm not like hating on Denny's. I'm just like, if you're going to put out a list of the best breakfast places in Orlando, you should go find the ones that are like off the beaten path, not like IHOP. Question about dead malls like Oviedo and Orlando Fashion Square. Does any have vision for the future? Yeah, so Fashion Square and what is it? There's like the Artemis. There's a bunch of new ones. Actually, I think Fashion Square got bought by Unicorp, and they are going to do something. Let me see. Fashion. A note about this actually. Square. So let me show you. Here we go. Their website's kind of glitchy. Unicorp updates groundbreaking details for Orlando Fashion Square Mall redevelopment. So this was in 2020 was the last that they did. So they bought the land though for $22 million, and they're looking to redevelopment that whole area. So apartments, retail space, they're going to reimagine that whole area, which is absolutely needed for that space. But I think a lot of these dead malls are going to be torn down, and they're going to be putting more retail and some just kind of reimagining the space. We're seeing a lot more apartments come to the area. One of the things I had talked about on one of my last videos of like what's coming to the area, Westside Capital moves forward with their plans for the Rose Arc District. They have $1 billion development that they finally are moving forward on. They got approval for this like a year ago. But they had worked through like some issues with affordable housing. And so now that they've got all of that taken down, they're moving forward with like 1,600 apartments and all of that good stuff. So some of this stuff just takes time. I think Fashion Square, once that's finished, especially the location in the city, it needs it. Haters gonna hate Sizzlers. That's wicked cool and probably not common. I've become obsessed with the Winter Garden area. It's cool. I mean, we enjoy it. Like I know I get some people give me hate for talking about the Winter Garden area, but to find like, because I talk about it maybe too much, I don't know. But the location to Disney, and then also really great houses, and then the downtown's quaint and just really good people. I think it's good. Mm-hmm. Curtis says, is there a new Dreamfinders being built off Reams Road? Yeah, they bought some land. They took down some land, but they haven't moved forward on it. So I think that it's like kind of shelved because of just how few houses there are compared to some of the other larger neighborhoods that they've got going on. But eventually that's going to be a really good spot. And it's unincorporated Orange County. So I think like the taxes and some of the other stuff are going to be a bit cheaper. Ned says, in English, Perkins is the dog danglers. Oh, okay. I don't know what that means. Sean says, am I going to do the Star Cruiser again? Yeah, I think we are. But we would do like, I think they call it Light Day in Star Wars instead of for Christmas. Sounds kind of fun. But it's definitely the best experience of our life. We've got a lot of other travel and stuff we got to get in before we do that again. We're looking at Sunbridge for the next few years. Your videos are a big help in researching. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's exactly what we're looking to do. My 6-year-old daughter would like me to ask you your updated progress, specifically Nintendo Land. Her name is London. Hey, London. Good to see you. Good to hang out with you a little bit. So we did a whole thing on that. The most recent thing that we heard about Epic Universe was sort of the new Harry Potter land, and that they're going to be doing the Ministry of Magic there, which I'm so stoked about, but nothing from the Nintendo side just yet. So I'll make sure I talk about it just for London next time we see it. Oh, there you go. We live in suburban Houston, and there's zero quaintness about Texas communities. Yeah. Well, there you go. Shout out to you from NYC. I appreciate it. We're wrapping up our day. Holly says, love Foxtail. I tell him Ken sent me. Thank you. Hopefully enough of those people will start to realize what's going on. All right, I think we're wrapping up for today. I did try to get as many questions as I can, but I'll go back through this afterwards. If there's anything that I haven't covered, we'll do a video about it, or I'll see you again next weekend. But wherever you're at in the world, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're looking to buy or sell a house anywhere in Central Florida, my team and I would love to help. And yeah, we'll see you guys on the next video.